Then the plaster, the white plaster, was applied to the surface. We had all the plastering done to a local subcontractor because it requires a skill that none of us had, and these guys were amazing, and they loved working on the project. They, in fact, everybody that we subbed out work to, we got along well with, and it was just fun times to work on this project. When the white shell went on, it was just another magic time because we could see actually the finished shape of the outside shell. And we had the windows glazed with a mirror glass, and it was just it was a beautiful sight to see. Just this brand new white and shiny building. So we got on the inside, and the inside was really kind of flexible. It was like an empty shell that we could design and fill it up with all the things that makes it livable. So the first thing, beyond the air conditioning, the air conditioning ducts, was the flooring material. Well, we had stacks of 2x4s that we used for the shoring to hold the ribs in place. So it seemed like the right thing to do is just use them for the floor because they're southern yellow pine. It's a beautiful hard pine, and southern yellow pine floors is very common and it's very beautiful. I mean, this was a perfect use for it. It's like recycling the lumber. We put it in the floor and we actually put a bend on it. And so the whole floor has this kind of an organic feel to it. There's not many straight lines in this house, so it just seemed like a natural thing to do. And we were able to use that material and actually drop it down into the seating area, let the yellow pine grow up into a sink and a dining table, and all of that. The design of those things evolved as we were working on the inside. This is the construction of the kitchen sink, and it's layers of 2x6 tongue and groove glued and screwed together. And then after it's all in place, then with a grinder, we would shape it out, kind of like the old surfboard we made. Pete Eichenlaub did this incredible sculpture that had the water tank for the toilet, the sink basin, and the shower, all integrated in this one element. It was called Rocky's Grotto. That's another story. We thought the interior should be like the interior of some of the old 50 cars, where you had a headliner, and we had these natural contours that would serve as pleats for the upholstery. So we just welded these studs onto the pipe contours, and then applied 4 inch of foam all around on the inside, and then put on these strips of wood that actually pulled the foam in with the pleats. Then we found this really fantastic upholsterer, Chuck Bray, and he was amazing. He came out and he upholstered the whole inside by himself, and by chance finding somebody like that, it's kind of that happened occasionally along the whole process of building the House of the Century. There's not a lot of information on the entry tube, but it was actually an afterthought. The idea of coming out of the swamps and stepping into this beautiful woodwork with muddy feet didn't seem like a good idea, so we needed to extend the entry out about 30 feet, and then we had this little entry pod that had a seat and a place to put your muddy shoes down. And then you walk in on this light beam, 12 inches wide of light. You walk in and then you step on the woodwork that's in the floor. So now that the inside is finished, the outside is finished, it's time to party and photograph. And at that time, news of this project had really surfaced around the world. Woody Allen wanted to use it in a sleeper. The negotiations didn't quite work out, but that's kind of the level of fame that it achieved right at the very beginning. Marilyn said she was in Paris and she was she was watching television and her house came up on the screen in Paris. And so it was out there, people knew about it, and there were a lot of amazing people that would come by and visit. So, we felt pretty good when that house was done. We could look back and say that's one of our projects. Roughly the budget, we built it for $100,000, which these days that's pretty amazing. But the house was complete. It was time to move on. I moved back into Houston, started my design build career. Doug and Chip and Curtis, they went on with the Ant Farm adventure. And then one day Doug calls and says, there's a problem with the upholstery out there. We need to go out there and take a look. And we did an investigation. We looked and the upholstery was starting to pop loose around the edges. And what had happened is, when we built the original shell, the moisture barrier was an white epoxy paint that covered the shell. But over a period of 5 years, the moisture was just working its way in, and finally it got into the barrel cement and probably saturated it, and then worked its way out to the ends of the little staples that became rusty, and they started popping loose. So that was the first sign that we needed to do a retrofit of a moisture